Good morning. This time I'm over at the village of Grasmere in the Lake District, and I've come to do a route called the Greenburn Round. We're going to knock 4 Wainwrights off over about 8.5 miles. I'm going to do it anti-clockwise. So first up, we've got a bit of a steep ascent to Steel Fell. Then we'll cross some potentially boggy terrain to Helm Crag and Gibson Knott, before finally finishing on one of the best known peaks in the Lake District, the Lion and the Lamb, Helm Crag. So coming out of Grasmere, we're heading this way, up this road here. My days, we're on for some views here. We're going to hang a right here, bit of construction going on, so that's the road we'll come down on our way back from the circular, but we're hanging right for now. So there's a bit of a sneak peek. That's Helm Crag. That's going to be the final one on today's list, and the one I'm most looking forward to doing. Good to be back out filming after a couple of weeks off from it. I've still been walking a canny bit, but I've just been local. I've knocked some mental mileage out just round the doors, but I haven't travelled anywhere to do any recording. I think nigh on every week this year I've put a video out. I love making them, and I'm over the moon with how the channel's done since last June when I made it. But I started to feel a bit obligated to go out every single week, and that's because you become obsessed with consistency. You're seeing your channel grow in real time, and you want to keep that up. And that's never ever what I started it for, you know. It was just a bit of fun. After the last video I did, the Wild Boar Fell route, that's a route I should be doing on my hands, considering some of the monsters I've climbed this year, and in previous years it should have been a doddle. And when I got back home from it, I felt it like it just caught up to us week in, week out, climbing big fells, and I was just a bit burnt out. So I need to remember, like, it's not a job, and for 99.9% of other small channels like mine, it never will be. So it's a hobby and it's a bit of fun, and I just wanted a bit of a break. But I wanted to record this today, especially with the forecast we've got. I mean, we're on for an absolute unbelievable day today, so I'll just take it week to week. If I'm feeling it, I'll go. If I'm not 100%, I'll give it a miss. So this big lad here, popping its head over the trees, that'll be Steel Fell, and it's the biggest one on the route. We'll horseshoe round, knock the other two off, and we'll finish there. I'll come through that gate there, and we're now off the beaten track, as they say. I love climbing hills, me. I love climbing hills more than Keir Starmer loves lying. I've told you this before, you can't train for elevation. I've had 2 weeks off the big fells, and it makes not a blind bit of difference. You can't train for it. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, makes no difference. I'll just show you this before I get too far up while I catch my breath, because we're going to be above it. So that there, that's the summit of Helm Crag, and this rocky overhang to the right, that's the Howitzer. But we'll have a chat about that once I get up there. I've got the sun coming up behind us. I tell you what, man, it feels like July or August. Once I hit this summit here, I'm going to have some layers off, I think. I looked into this thing here, Steel Fell, because I'd heard that it was very steep. So when I looked on ChatGPT and asked about it, it likened it to Merton Pike. Oh, I tell you something, that's a load of crap. This is knee Merton Pike. This is a lot tougher, a lot steeper. This is about to get vertical, this. I'll tell you something else and all. I didn't think that's the summit. You see on my elevation graph there? Reckons I'm only about halfway up it. Flippin' heck. Never ever count your chickens in this game. Full summit, we're nowhere near. So that's it there. And I've heard that the last part is the steepest. I've had to strip down to a base layer, put a cap on and put my shades on. I've wrapped up because initially, first thing, it was meant to be overcast. Why, it's far from overcast, lad. So after a second false summit, you're greeted with that monster yet to climb. That's the bulk of the elevation for this one done. I had to slow the pace on that final pull there. My heart rate was knocking on 170, blowing out my hoop, doing me in. So I can just see the summit up in the distance here. Just looks like a rusty stick popping out the ground. I'm going to have to ration this water and all. I did not expect it to be this hot, and I haven't brought a great deal of water, so I'll have to go and canny. Wainwright number 1 for the day. Steel fell, 1,814 feet. That's Wainwright number 57 for me. And it's nice to get back up a height after about 3 or 4 weeks break from the lakes. So I always love getting back and knocking the first one off. But we'll have a look at some of the views from here because we've got an outstanding day. So we've got Rays over here, and this will be the Helvellyn range. So we'll have like Helvellyn over the back of there, Dollywagon, Nevermost Pike. That's Seat Sandal. So Grisdale Tarn is just below that on the other side. I can just see Fairfield popping over the top there, and seeing Sunday Crag where we were last time we were over here. And this will be the likes of Hart Crag, Dove Crag, Fairfield Horseshoe over there. So yeah, some lovely views there. Thirlmere looking absolutely class. And we'll plod on. Next one's Calf Crag, but we've got to lose a bit of elevation to get to that. And I'm expecting some potentially boggy terrain. As far as I'm aware, they've had cracking weather over here all week. So maybe that's dried it up a bit, but we'll have to see what we get. I've just had to stop and have a look at these views. This unique looking fell here, that'll be Sergeant Man, I think. So the Langdales will be over here somewhere. And that'll be the Scarfell range in the distance. So it shows you how good of a day we've got when you're getting views over to there. Love it. Oh my God, what an absolute travesty. So my gold bar is melted in my back pocket. That's how warm it is. Fantastic. I love that when you're on a anti-clockwise horseshoe walk and you can just see your full route ahead of you, and that'll be Helm Crag. Look at that. Come to this rocky descent here. There's a path to the right, but I'll never turn down an opportunity to do a bit scrambling. And it is just a little bit, but tell you what, once you get off that steep incline up the Steel Fell, this is an absolute joy to walk, this, mind. What a day, man. And to think, I was toying with the idea of putting this route off today. I was potentially going to go over to Northumberland. This is only the second proper lakes route I've did solo. Bog. If you've seen other videos, you'll know that most of the time when I'm over here, I'm out with my mate, my hiking buddy. But he's been tied up with work the last 2 weekends. When I saw the forecast today, I knew it was set to be potentially overcast and cold early doors, but I knew it was always set to get out. So I'm glad that I've chose to come over. So this is the approach to Calf Crag. You can see it's boggy. Christ, is it? And this is after dry weather. So imagine what this place will be like after heavy rainfall. Calf Crag summit, marked by a small Carney. Wainwright number 58 for me, second of the day, 1,762 feet. We've got some views from here. So you've got Helm Crag and Blee Rig over in that direction. I was thinking about adding them onto today's route, but I'm glad that I didn't, because that would have turned into a multi-mileage beast. Over here we've got like Ulscarf, Sergeant Man, High Rays. Beyond that should be the Langdales over that way, and that's looking towards Helm Crag there. But we've got Gibson Knott first. There's about 1.5 miles between this one and that one, so we'll get cracking. The next two are a lot lower down, so we've got to lose a bit of elevation over towards this way. Looking back to Helm Crag where we came down, lovely rocky little summit that, loved it. Yeah, from Helm Crag to Gibson Knott, notoriously boggy. I thought I'd avoided it because of the good weather, but can you just see that glistening there? That is the eternal bog of stench. So the boggy section wasn't too bad. Quite easy to pick your way around the rocky areas. But like I say, man, if it's been chucking it down here, knee deep, inside. And this is the approach to Gibson Knott. And then Helm Crag beyond that. And I'd imagine once we get onto Gibson Knott, we'll get some brilliant views over to the Langdales, which you've probably just hidden. My good God. So I need to drop off here, and that's the path along this ridge here. What a view, man, what a view. What about this view? Seat Sandal, looking like an absolute juggernaut. Fairfield just beyond it. What a day. Not my favourite conditions. I like a light snow day with clear skies, but in terms as a perfect walking day, unbeatable conditions. Pretty fun coming down this, very rocky descent. So I've dropped down a ways. I'm pretty sure this one here is Gibson Knott. Wainwright number 3 today, 59 in total. Gibson Knott, 1,378 feet. And look at them views over the Langdales. I can't quite pick any out. I was looking for Pike Stickle because that's got a unique shape, but I can't seem to see it. It must be hidden behind. But I had one of the best days I've ever had on the hills over there last year. Jack's Rake, did Pavey Ark, Loft Crag, Harrison Stickle, Pike Stickle, Thundercar Knott. The next one's Helm Crag. The top of Helm Crag is a bit of a controversial subject. Essentially, it's got two summits. You've got the Wainwright summit, which is the Lion and the Lamb. A little bit of a scramble up there. You bag your Wainwright, tick it off in your little book. Job's a good one. And that's what most people do. But the true summit is just beyond it and a little bit higher. It's a rocky overhang called the Howitzer, and it requires a little bit of rock climbing to get to the top of. In Wainwright's pictorial guidebooks, which are the absolute Bible to Lake District fell walkers, he says the Howitzer's inaccessible to the average fell walker, so it's pretty much unclimbable to regular walkers. When I'm in a situation like this, I'll always try and hit the true summit. That's just how I'm wired. It'll bother us if I didn't, but there's a couple of variables that'll go into whether or not I climb it. First of all, the conditions. I needed bone dry rock and no wind. As you've seen today, weather's absolutely perfect, we'll be all right there. But if somebody's already on top of it or in the process of climbing it, I'm not gonna do it, and I'll probably not wait around to do it either. I'm not going up there with somebody who I don't know how capable of climbing they are. I don't know how confident they are, and if you fall off this thing in the wrong direction, it's going to be game over. Another thing that was bothering us was, if I decide to do it, how am I going to film it? Because when I was looking for videos of it, the only footage I could find was somebody standing at the bottom and recording somebody else climbing up the top. So that tells me it's probably not possible to film it one-handed, climb it that way. So in the end, I decided the safest, sensiblest option was to bring the head mount and record it that way, you know, like I did both times over Sharp Edge. But we'll have a look at it, man, you know, if it's quiet. So this is Helm Crag. I can already see a couple of people up there. And this thing here on the left, that must be the Howitzer. So we'll have a look, man. Like I say, if I don't get a climb today and it's busy or whatever, I'll come back and I'll climb it another day. But I'm keen to do it. Big pull back up this at the end of the walk on tired legs. Looks like the scrambling here and there. Hi, bit of a pull up. So the Wainwrights summit is over there, I think, where that family's sitting. But I found myself at the Howitzer and I've got it to myself. So I think we'll have a look at it. So that's what you're going up. I'll just put the head cam on. I see. No handhold to get up to that. Or is there? Handhold there. Don't know if I've come up the right way. That's it, Howitzer. Climbed. That's it. Easy as that. You just got to find a place to stand. That's it. Done. Got a bit of an audience here. Ah, it wasn't too bad. I've got to get down, like. You couldn't have done that one-handed. It's short, but it's awkward. Do not try and climb that in wet weather. Pretty easy to get up it if you've got a bit of upper body strength. But coming down, dear me, it's took me about 15 minutes to get off that thing there. No handholds on out. In the wet, you'll just slide from the top to the bottom. Not recommended. Just been talking to a guy from Liverpool there. He came over to the Howitzer and he says, how sketchy is that? I said, very. Coming down. So he decided not to do it. But it just shows you, most people who have a brain will take one look at it and say no. Wainwright, number 4 for today, number 60 in total. Helm Crag, the Lion and the Lamb, 1,329 feet. And it's a beauty, an absolute beauty. Easier to get up than the Howitzer. So that's it there. That's what we've come off, that's Helm Crag summit. And as you can see, it's a minor scramble. Just on my way down now, and I'll wrap the video up because there's just streams of people coming past us. And that's why I start so early, because places like this can get busy, especially on a nice day. And we know how I feel about people. Love the walk, brilliant, so glad I came out with this forecast. It's been a topper. Knocked off another 4 Wainwrights, and it's mad to think that I've been somewhere that the man himself, Wainwright, hasn't been, on top of the Howitzer. But not recommended at all, not recommended. Sketchy coming down it, but other than that, brilliant walk. You can watch another one of my videos here, and you can subscribe here, and I'll catch you next time.